come to an altar and they're weary, and God gives them rest, man, that's worth a couple hours of my time, amen?
Amen.
Somebody comes in and they don't know, they need the word, they need the testimony, or the Wayne testimony, or anything else. It's worth a few hours of my time, right? People just understand. If we can get in the flow and the agenda of God, there is so much that He wants to do. There may be a marriage that walked into the day that is tense and nobody knows it except the husband and wife. And God would love to touch that marriage today and restore it. There may be a parent and their child that are just at each other. God wants to do this. I'm learning that it's worth taking our time for God's will to be accomplished. And I used to joke about this was my second home. People that go in my office sort of joke, I got a little fridge stashed under the desk. I got a love seat in there I can halfway stretch out on it if I wanted to, and I had before. You know what? I think that would love to do it. Not so much in my office, but in this room right here. Sanctuary of God. And it's not because God is in other places, there's just a sweet spirit in this place. And I love to be here. And I'm learning better truly is one day the house of God than 1,000 Israel. We started all these weeks ago talking about God wasn't always pushing to take us spiritually. We talked about what some of that looks like, about the glory of God, and those kinds of things. And I said last week, I said, yeah, but as much as God wants us to come and partake of all that He has, Satan is fighting just as hard to keep us from it. Last week I talked about the spirit of manipulation. And to be honest with you, as I was preaching and I was looking at faces, I thought, man, God, I just wasted everybody's time. Because it seemed like everybody was paying attention, but it was like, but man, then I started getting response after service. People were like, yeah, he does that. And the one that God laid on my heart for today, the second strategy that Satan uses so much, I know he uses this one. It's pretty much everybody that's believing. And it works. And it works even better than the spirit of manipulation that we talked about last week. And I would sort of introduce it this way. If you're a parent and you've had a young child, you've probably experienced that moment when you're asleep, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's say your kid's maybe 4. And your child comes into your room and they're shaking like a leaf. And they wake you up and you say, what's the matter? I'm scared. And maybe they say something like, I think there's a monster, there's a boogeyman or whatever under my bed, I'm scared. And you sit there and you try to convince them to come and say, oh, there's nothing under there, honey. It's okay. There's nothing under there. I'll take you in the room and we'll look under the bed together. And no matter how you try to convince them that there's nothing under the bed, where do they usually end up that night? In your bed, right? Because even though you know their fear isn't true, and even though you can prove it to them, they still believe that it's there. That's exactly an illustration of what I want to show you in Scripture today. If somebody tells me that something is all in my head, what exactly are they trying to tell me? They're telling me that what I'm thinking isn't right, or it isn't good, or it isn't true. It's not reality. And when we buy into something that's not real, or not true, or not good, it will always have an effect on our lives in a negative way. For the 4-year-old who thinks there's a he made of the bed. It causes them and it causes their parents to lose some sleep. Not that big of a deal. But when it's about something that really matters in life, it has a way of bringing destruction into that life. There are thoughts that get lodged in our minds that become patterns of thinking in certain areas, and they do a lot of harm to us and to the people around us. And the devil knows that we're wired that way, and he loves to play with our minds. If you're here, you're breathing, and you're trying to follow God, the devil loves to play with your mind. Mm-hmm. He loves to put thoughts in your mind that he hopes you'll grab a hold of and let them lodge in there and become destructive patterns of thinking. The Bible has a phrase for this strategy of the enemy, and I want to look at it right now. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, beginning with verse 3. It says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we don't war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and everything, high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ." Here's the Apostle Paul. He's shown up in the town of Corinth. He goes to the church of Corinth, and he's talking to the people, and he has a message for them. He says, listen, folks. The war that we're in is not in the human realm. It's not in the fleshly realm. It's not in the physical realm. It's in the spiritual realm. And it centers around your mind. Mm-hmm. Hear it this morning, brother or sister. The war you're going to have to fight to get to heaven is not in your heart. It is in your mind. Mm-hmm. Paul goes on to say, but God has given us spiritual weapons to win the battle. And then he mentions two particular attacks that Satan uses in our mind. The first one is he calls imaginations. And that word imaginations means it's our own human ability to reason. And let me just give you, I'm not preaching on this one this morning, but it's a good one to preach on. Satan wants you to deal with spiritual matters in your life with your human reasoning. Mm-hmm. That's called imagination. He wants you to approach spiritual stuff in your life using your own human ability to figure things out and to make decisions. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because he knows we're not smart enough humanly to deal with spiritual matters. So if he can get us to do it, we'll go back to being deceived. And we'll walk in something that brings destruction to our soul. But that's not the one we're talking about this morning. The one we're talking about this morning is the next thing Paul mentions, where he talks about strongholds. Strongholds. And it's always good to understand what we're looking at before we look at it. So let's just get a working definition to this idea of strongholds. Literally, when you see it in Scripture, it means a fortified castle. Jeremiah likes castles. So he has some toy castles. We're familiar with them, right? Tall, thick walls with that heavy drawbridge that when it's shut, it's shut. The little towers on the corners with soldiers watching for anyone that would come against them. A place that's almost impossible to overtake because it's so strong and so well defended. And Paul uses that picture in a spiritual way to describe a strategy that Satan uses against our minds. It's when the enemy influences us by implanting thoughts into our minds that our lies mixed with just enough reality or just enough truth that he hopes we'll grab a hold of them as truth and let them lodge into our lives. And we will become to believe them. Mm-hmm. He wants those thoughts to become our pattern of thinking concerning whatever the thoughts are about. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is, a stronghold is when I become to think about a certain thing in a certain way every time it comes up in my mind.